Now remember, we've seen some very desperate scenes from the Kabul International Airport. Thousands of Afghans who had worked earlier for the Americans or the NATO forces, many of them are camping at the Kabul International Airport in the hope that they could be evacuated. But one of the few lucky ones who in fact managed to get out of the country was pop star Aryana Sayeed. She is a television personality. She is a singer, a songwriter, besides being an actor in Afghanistan. And she was one of those lucky people who in fact managed to flee from the country, and she's joining us live on this broadcast on WION. Aryana, thank you very much indeed for joining us and talking to us here on WION. You know, when you look at those very desperate scenes that are coming out from the international airport at Kabul, and you were one of those lucky few ones, you know, who managed to get out of Afghanistan just in time, what exactly is going through your mind? How are you feeling, knowing the fact that you are just one of those few lucky ones who managed to make it out of the country?
Well, I am obviously very grateful that I am alive and I made it out of Afghanistan alive along with my fiance. But to be quite honest with you, I'm really worried and concerned for my people back there who are still there and they have nowhere to go. And they're living a life of misery and fear right now. It's just heartbreaking. And even though I have been out of Afghanistan for the past 7 days now, but my mind and my heart is still there, and I still do not feel normal at all.
And also, Aryana, can you narrate to us, can you tell us the ordeal that you had to go through to get out of Afghanistan?
Well, my fiance and I, we were first booked initially on a commercial flight to take off from Afghanistan on the 15th of August. But then, unfortunately, by the 15th of August, we went to the airport first at like around 2 or 3 p.m. in the afternoon. Our flight was supposed to be at 8 p.m. So we went to the airport, a lot of people, like packed airports with thousands of people. It was really, difficult to, first of all, get in. It would have taken you like a few hours. So we get in and we're waiting to be checked in. And then suddenly around 5 or 6 o'clock, we heard gunshots. And we heard the news that the Taliban are like just outside the airport and they're going to come in any minute now. As a result of that, everybody got scared and people started running around, and the airport staff plus the security, they ran away. They left the people just like that. The planes were just like open to public, and everybody was rushing inside the planes and, with their small children, with their bags on their shoulders and things like that. So unfortunately, by the time I got on the plane, I see that there's no space at all to like sit there. There's no space to stand. It was like packed with 1,000 people. And also to mention that the pilots ran away as well because they were scared. They couldn't take off like that with 1,000 people hanging on the plane. And then there was also individuals who were armed with guns on them. So the plane couldn't take off that day, and we had to come off the plane and then went back to the terminal. And then inside the terminal, there's us confused and scared and thinking, what should we do? What should we do? Because outside there's Taliban. And then we also had the news that they are going to walk inside and they're going to come in. So we had to take a risk to get out of the airport somehow. So with the help of a few cousins of my fiance who actually came like angels, and they took us out of the airport. We had to walk through gunshots and bullets. They were trying to shoot the air because they were trying to scare and scatter people off so that they do not, rush inside the airport. So that night we got away around 10, 11 at night. And then the next day we attempted for the airport again, which was very risky, especially for me, because I'm a well-known face in Afghanistan, as you know, and I've been a women's rights activist, and I've been a target, in the past. So it was extra challenging for me to make that journey from the house to the airport again. But again, we had no choice but to take the risk, and we took two cars the next night, and we went to the airport. We passed a few Taliban checkpoints, but luckily they did not check us. One of them just looked through the window, and we had some children with us because we wanted to blend in and look like a normal family. So they didn't ask anything, and they let us go. So we get to the airport again, and this is the other side of the airport where the American military base is. And even this side is like full of people. It would take you perhaps, more than an hour or two to get to the gate where the base is. This is how packed it was with people, with children crying, with babies screaming, and with no oxygen and air to breathe. It was an absolute disaster. It was really terrifying. For me, I think I went through one of the most terrifying journeys of my life, which I will never forget, and it will stay with me for the rest of my life.
And also, Aryana, as an Afghan national who's been living through this crisis, who's got her family back in Afghanistan, who do you hold accountable for creating the mess that Afghanistan finds itself in now?
Well, I seriously, I don't know who to blame first. The first country that I would blame personally is Pakistan, because that's exactly where Taliban are trained. That's where the bases are. That's where they get their funds from and their instructions from. And then obviously Pakistan is getting funded by other countries. So it's really a crazy situation. It's like a game, a dirty political game that's being played inside Afghanistan. Unfortunately, that's never ending, and that's why the lives of so many of our people, innocent people, is being sacrificed as a result of a very dirty game that's being played. So I blame the entire world right now for leaving Afghanistan alone in the hands of Taliban. I cannot believe that they would actually reach a deal with a bunch of people who treat women like animals in Afghanistan. They don't even like women. They don't like humanity. They don't know what humanity means and what it should be. So it's very disappointing. It's really heartbreaking and disappointing, and I feel really bad for all those innocent people, who are being played, and they have nowhere to go, and they have to suffer and suffer and suffer.
Absolutely, indeed. That's Aryana Sayeed there. Thank you very much indeed, Aryana, for joining us and talking to us and narrating to us your ordeal as to how you managed to get out of Afghanistan. WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.